Hello, my name's Eleanor, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to support neurodivergent people better in the workplace. The first thing you need to understand about neurodiversity is that most people think it means autistic people, but that's actually not the case. When you're talking about neurodiversity, you actually mean all of the different kinds of brains that people have. And when you say neurodivergent, that actually means any type of brain difference that somebody could have. People do more often than not mean autistic people, however, when they say neurodivergent or neurodiverse. Today, I'm going to be focusing in on autistic and ADHD because that is my area of expertise, working as a support worker for a number of years with High Peak Community Arts, Shape Arts and local schools. So, neurodiversity means anyone whose brain works differently. What you also want to know is that it's not linear. That is to say, it doesn't go from 0 to 10, least to most autistic, least to most dyslexic, etc. It's more like a non-linear, spiky profile. So, as you can see, I've done a very crude drawing. It's not linear from least to most autistic. In fact, every neurodivergent person has strengths and weaknesses just like anybody else. That person might be really good in terms of intelligence, or they might have very good executive function, or a different neurodivergent person might really struggle with that. It really depends on the person. The other thing you might want to know is it really fluctuates based on the day. If you're under a lot of stress, or you're with someone that's you're not comfortable with, you might not have as much ability. But if you're in a really comfortable environment, you feel confident, you feel calm, you have the support that you need, your ability is going to be fantastic. So all of these things affect someone's ability to function, and the more support that's tailored to them, the better someone's going to be able to thrive in the workplace or any other environment. Lots of people think that ADHD and autism function in a linear way, least to most. That's not the case. They think neurodivergent here, neurotypical here, or vice versa. That's not true. It's actually completely different. It's not glass of water, glass of complete Vimto, and then you got different levels of Vimto to water, different drink, and all these drinks are different types of people. It's a different operating system. I've heard different people refer to it as being like Apple versus Android. That's quite a good analogy as well. So the other thing you want to know is communication. The way that neurodivergent people communicate is different to the way that neurotypical people communicate. So the two key differences that I think are really relevant in the workplace are differences in body language and differences in the way you use words. So the differences in body language might be that a neurodivergent person, an autistic person, might struggle with eye contact because it's very uncomfortable if it's someone that you don't know very well. And it's very distracting when you're making eye contact with someone to show that you're engaged. Ironically, it makes you less engaged internally because you're focusing so much energy on that. So if you're talking to an autistic person and they're not looking at you in the eye, that doesn't mean that they don't care. It's quite the opposite. They're just focusing on what you're saying. And if they were to look at you in the eye, they wouldn't be focusing as much. So yeah, when it comes to words, it's really important to use direct language. Obviously, everybody's different, so they might be very good at discerning idioms or sarcasm or whatever, but a lot of neurodivergent people might struggle if you use a very vague instruction like, can you clear this up? Can you get back to me on that? These instructions are quite vague, and it's actually better for everyone involved, with neurotypical or neurodivergent, if you're really clear about what your expectations and boundaries are. So a really good instruction would be, I would like to meet with you at this time to discuss this, and I want you to do this research beforehand, for example. That's really clear, and both of you know what you're wanting from this interaction. The third point I want to make is make sure that you have a person-centered approach. What that means is everybody's different. Something that I really liked in Ellie Middleton's book was she talked about the accessibility menu. So what she meant was that sometimes neurodivergent people don't know what they are able to get access at work, and they don't know what would actually help them until it's actually spelled out for them. Do you need a quiet room? Oh, I hadn't thought that might help, but maybe it would. Do you need noise cancelling headphones? Do you need this? Do you need that? Look into things that neurodivergent people might find helpful and see if you can supply that. Most accessibility arrangements don't require a huge amount of time or money. You just have to know what to offer people and offer it, and understand the value that brings. It is astounding how much accessibility arrangements can improve someone's performance, likelihood to not burn out, and just overall well-being in the workplace. And when neurodivergent people succeed, everybody succeeds on the team. There's a huge amount of talent that goes missed, that isn't employed because neurodivergent people aren't properly understood and their abilities aren't brought into the world. So it's very important.